everybody. Welcome to our fun extra loose flower class today. So I'm just going to wait for everyone to log on. How's everyone doing? You can give me a thumbs up. You can speak for now. I will mute you very soon, but you still have a few minutes. Okay, super. So are there any questions? Anything at all before I get started? Yay, you made it.
I made it.
Good. I'm so happy to see so many people here. This is going to be super fun. Okay, so let me quickly go over the supplies. So obviously we have our watercolor paper. I always recommend 100% cotton for best results, as you know. This is approximately 8 by 11 inches, so anything similar is fine. Then for brushes, I'm using 2 different brushes, so this is what they look like. As long as you have similar, that's fine. You don't need to have the exact same one. So this is how big they are. This says 12 and this one says nothing. So I'm imagining it's like a 1. So it's a very thin brush. So just anything, something with a fine point will be fine for what we're doing today. Okay, so I'm just going to set those aside. And now let me just discuss the colors. So we have only a few colors today, not too many. So I'm using my palette that I like to travel with and paint outside with. It's very messy, as you can see. It even has like bits of paper towel and probably little twigs also, but that's okay, right? We accept everything when it comes to painting and watercolors. Get messy, have fun. That's what it's all about. So I'm using magenta. I have a blue. It's kind of like an ultramarine blue. Maybe it's a little bit purpley, but regardless, like I said in the supply list, as long as you have similar, that's fine. It doesn't need to be the exact same colors. Okay, then I'm using just a regular green. It's kind of like a, I don't know, mix between grassy green, sap green, something like that. And then lastly, I have this color right here, which is a purpley color. Okay, so that's it for the supplies. If you have any questions, let me know. I've just muted everyone so we don't have background noise, but if ever there's anything that arises during the class, you can always unmute yourself and ask me anything. So let me get started with just explaining a little bit about this painting. So this is a very loose way, as you know, of painting. It's very free-spirited, very flowy and fun. So to do that, I'm going to show you the exact techniques that I do to create a similar effect. We're not focusing so much on the result here. It's more about the process. It's very abstract, like I mentioned. So that's why the sketch that I gave you to sketch out today is very messy and loose. The sketch is obviously there to guide you, but I do recommend redoing the class afterwards without a sketch just to challenge yourself a little bit and to get more of the feeling of, just going with the flow and letting go of like perfection. Because I find even with the sketch in this case, you're still trying to get everything to fit in. And this painting is all about just, fun and flowy, like I said, just going with the flow and enjoying the process. So if you look at my original, I didn't have a sketch. I just kind of go with it. And that's how I do it. Obviously, I know it's a lot easier said than done because it does take practice. So I don't expect you to be good at this overnight. It requires perseverance and not giving up. So as long as that's your mentality, you can definitely get there. And I encourage you to do so. And if you need a little extra push, a little more encouragement, I do have a group now. I don't know if you saw, it's a subscription group on Facebook. Right now, it's going to be the cheapest it's ever going to be. It's $2.99 until May 1st. So join. You have 4 more days before it goes up. And I do post exclusive tutorials there. I do give tips, tricks, Q&As. If ever you guys have questions, you can ask me in that group. It's the perfect place to connect directly with me. So yeah, I do recommend going there, especially if you're looking for some extra advice outside of the classes. So once again, if you're interested in that group, just send me a quick message after the class and I'll be happy to send you the link to the private group. Okay, so let's get started with testing out our colors. As you know, I always like to try out the colors just to get a hang of what they look like. So first thing I like to do, especially for those who don't know how to paint with watercolor, you start by dipping your brush into the water, and then you just test out all your colors. So I'm going in, I know it's hard to see on the camera, but you'll be able to see shortly. So this is my purple. Obviously, I'm going to use a lot less water because if I want it to look like that, it's got to be more watered down. So look at the difference just between lots of pigment and less pigment and more water. Okay. I'm also going to move this so I don't dirty it because that tends to happen also. So once again, if I add more water, so all I did now was dip my brush into the water again. And look, you see it becomes even lighter. So I want you to just try that out. I know some of you have more experience with this, so this will be easier for you, but it's still always good practice to try it out. For those who are new to watercolors, this is a great exercise that you could take with you moving forward and do it a couple of times. So even after the class for extra practice, just try the same color but diluting with more water and then see all the range of colors you can get. Okay, so that's our purple. Next color. So I'm using a blue here. It's kind of like a dark medium ultramarine blue. So once again, more pigment here, less pigment here. We're only going to use a tiny bit of this. So let me show you in my original. This flower here had a little bit of blue mixed in. So that's why I wanted to bring it into the class today, just so that this one's a little bit different to these ones. These ones are just the pure purple. Okay, so once again, I'm going to show you how to do that when the time comes. For now, we are just trying our colors to get comfortable with them. Okay, second to last color is my magenta color here. So as you can see, when there's not a lot of water and lots of pigment, it's super dark, very bright and bold. Now, again, because we're working with delicate colors, we're going to want to water this down. So dip your brush back into the water, go back into what you did and just move it around like this. See, and now it becomes much lighter. So we're going to be working with light colors, but we are also going to be dropping in some more concentrated details of color to create that punch that you see in my painting where like some of the centers are a little bit more vibrant. So I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. For now, we're just finishing up with our colors. So next we have green. Okay, so that's the green I'm using. Once again, your colors don't have to be exactly the same. It's not very important. And if ever you do like the supplies that I'm using, I do have an Amazon shop, which I think I linked it in the supply list. But if you have questions, you can still message me about that. Okay, so those are the colors for today. Now let's get into the fun part, which is the technique for the flowers. So obviously this is the final, but there's a pre-sketch I wanted you to do. So just grab that for now. We are going to do the final in a minute, but for now we're going to start with some practice because I want you to understand the technique. And we are going to start with our purple flowers. So what I want you to do is grab your palette if you're working with a palette. If you're working directly with your paper like I am, all you need to do is do what I'm doing. So just put some color on your paper. And then I want you to really water it down again. You're looking for something very transparent like this. You see it's very, very light, especially in these areas, very light in color. So this would also be kind of too dark. So I'm even adding more water to this. Okay. Next thing I wanted to mention is because it's a very light and delicate painting, your sketch will probably be visible. So I do recommend, and I did say this in the email, but I like to remind you, if you want to erase any darkness, so if the pencil lines are a bit too dark, I would say do that before you paint, because once you paint over the pencil, you can't erase it. Another way to, if you have watercolor pencils, that's another way to kind of get around that, because the watercolor pencils will blend with the paint. But I do think a sketch is good just because it's going to guide you and you can see what you're doing. So once again, mine is super dark. That's always on purpose. I want you guys to see what I'm doing, okay? So yours should be lighter, maybe something closer to what I have here. Okay, let me show you the technique now, which is super fun and just very free-spirited. So what you want to do is you're going to pick a flower. So let's say this one here, and all you have to do. Hey guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this little demo where I'm just showing you a little preview of one of my detailed classes. These are full classes that you can find by emailing me. So once again, if you're interested, you can email me at biancarosendesign@gmail.com. and you will learn how to paint this beautiful painting from scratch. You can then frame it at home. Like I mentioned before, I have students who have walls filled with the paintings that they've learned how to paint in my classes. So if you are interested, please don't hesitate to email me and I will send you all the info. And once again, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can have access to all the upcoming tutorials. And thank you so much. See you soon.